All right, I guess it's a good morning on the East Coast. I never film one of these when a game is still going on, especially an elimination game, but this game is over. The Grizzlies are going to be eliminated from the playoffs. It's the fourth quarter, and they're down 32, 33 points, and I'm not staying up another 45 minutes to film a video when we all know what the outcome is going to be. You will find the Memphis Grizzlies Offseason article. They are Team 21. Team 22 will be either Golden State or Sacramento on Sunday. I mean, what do you say about a no-show performance by this Memphis team here? I mean, a complete embarrassment. I mean, a complete no-show. I think the biggest thing that we'll find out is if these guys are going to talk to the media after the game. That's probably the only mystery that's left here. And you can go on ESPN.com and read about their offseason. Yes, there was injuries. Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, their front court. Luke Kennard being out for Game 6 certainly did not help. But you had the same cast of characters that blew Los Angeles out in Game 5, and your best players no-showed. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane. I mean, I'm not even counting Dillon Brooks as one of their best players. And now we head into the offseason here, and I think we always start about the state of the roster. Hey, listen, Morant, Jaren Jackson, Bane. Three guys under the age of 25. Any of the other 29 teams would love to have those players to build around. Morant's going to probably see his name on All-NBA. Jackson's Defensive Player of the Year. Bane, probably one of the better three-point shooters, perimeter players out there here. And there's a reason why we ranked them number one in the future power rankings before the season started. Those three guys are special and stuff. But as I said in the article, what we've learned in the playoffs, like individual talent means nothing, right? Individual talent means nothing if there's not buy-in or sacrifice from each player. And I said if they want to take the next step, there has to be trust, discipline, and maturation in the locker room. If not, the window to compete for the championship will close. I don't care how young this team is, and this Memphis team will be considered as one of those great what-if teams, right? That fun, loving team that we loved last year that was built organically through the draft. It was going to be considered as one of those teams. Heck, you can even say that Sacramento is probably past them right now, and maybe Oklahoma City will be. I mean, it closes quick. Just ask Denver a couple years ago when Murray and Porter were out. This thing closes quick. I don't care how. If you have three players under the age of 25, it closes quick. Now, the positives, I guess, that we can draw from this is that you've got 13 players under contract. You've got 3 draft picks, 25, 43, 56. You've got all your future ones. You've got a Golden State pick in 2024. You got your non-taxpayer mid-level exception. Okay, so it's not like this thing is going to be gutted here. But there's going to be changes, right? What happened this year with the Ja Morant situation, with Dillon Brooks' antics, that cannot continue. And I love them having an edge, but it can't continue. I mean, you got to put your foot down here. As far as their the finances, if Morant earns All NBA, which likely he is, they're going to lose $7 million off their towards the luxury tax. An additional $7 million will go towards that. So, I mean, they basically are entering the. I'm just reading something here. They're basically going to. They're going in $20 million below the luxury tax. You minus $7, so that's basically $13 million below the tax if he earns All NBA. If Dillon Brooks could push you over. And that's going to be the big thing. They've got a $1.9 million team option on Xavier Tillman. We're going to talk about that in a minute. The top front office priority is going to be the Dillon Brooks negotiation. I said it's probably one of the most polarizing negotiations that we'll see, right? He's going to probably see his name in all NBA defensive first or second team. I mean, he guards your best player, 46% field goal percentage allowed against 2022-23 All-Stars, lowest among 72 players. I mean, he is, he's a high-level wing defender, but he's a liability on the offensive end and with his antics on the court, right? I mean, shot 34% on jumpers, ranked 62nd out of 66 players, 36% on wide-open jumpers. Like, he is a hindrance, and he has a lack of self-awareness offensively, and we know about his antics on the court. Since 2017, 58 technicals, 18 this year. He's been ejected 5 times. So how do you balance that, right? So he's eligible for 4 for 61 up until July 1st, or June 30th, or July 1st, I guess we could put. Is that the number? Are you comfortable paying $15, $16 million? I'm not paying $20 million. If you don't bring him back, you've got Zaire Williams, who was hurt for most of this year, David Roddy, and maybe you go in the draft, and maybe you use your tax mid-level exception. Those are your options. Okay, so either you bring him back, either you overpay and you just deal with all the bullshit that he does every year, and keep your fingers crossed that he's on his best behavior. You give him an offer that's 15 to 16 million and say, you know what, go out and can you get more? Or you're basically going to let him walk for nothing. Maybe you work out a sign and trade, and then the hope is that Williams, Roddy, Kennard, that group is going to be your small forward moving forward. That's your top front office priority. The Dillon Brooks piece is as I said, it is polarizing. On one side, you pay a premium for wing defenders in this league. We always sit in these meetings and we say, how do we get guys that can guard and make threes, every once in a while, impacts the defensive end. And you have it there in Memphis. But on the other end, all the other stuff that comes with it. And that's the balancing act that the front office is going to have to make. You've got extensions. I mean, Desmond Bane. 6 out of the 15 players on this roster have been extended in the past 3 years. Desmond Bane is extension eligible. I don't think he is a max player. I think he's probably in the neighborhood of where Tyler Hero, probably a little bit in that Jordan Poole, 4 for 127-ish somewhere. You can still extend him for 5 years, but I'm not giving him the full boat. I'm not giving him, whatever it is, 5 for 207, the Anthony Edwards number. Because you would have Bane, Morant, Jackson making, I don't know, $120 million between that. So if there's not a deal, let him go into restricted free agent. Xavier Tillman is interesting because he's got that the team option. If the Grizzlies exercise it, then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2024. If they decline it, he's restricted. But remember, we talked about their finances. They'll be $13 million under the tax. That doesn't include a new contract for Dillon Brooks. So the likelihood is that they exercise and maybe they try to work out an extension for him that would start in 2024-25. You have him on that 1.8 number. He can be extended for up to 4 for 71 if the option is picked up here. So those are your 2 extension guys. I would expect some type of deal with Bane, and we'll see what happens with Tillman. But as I said, I'm not comfortable. I think Desmond Bane is a really good player. I think he's a borderline all-star. He's not a max player, but sometimes there are circumstantial max players out there. Andrew Wiggins from whatever that was 5 or 6 years ago was a circumstantial max guy. Darius Garland is probably, if Desmond Bane's going to make an argument and say, well, Darius Garland got that, I'm a better player, and he might be, but every team looks at it differently here. So I'm not paying a max for Desmond Bane, but I'm, $28, $29 million. I think that's kind of where I see his number. Team needs shooting. Took the 11th most 3-point attempts this season. Finished 23rd in 3-point percentage. As I said, they own all their draft picks moving forward. They've got that Golden State pick in 2024. That's top 4 protected. So That's a 10-minute tired video on the Memphis Grizzlies. They are about to be eliminated. They are only down 38 right now. I wish we did have running clock, especially for those in the East Coast. But it starts with growing up, man. This team's got to grow up. Otherwise, I said one of the great young talented teams is going to be a what-if team, and they're going to join the list of a lot of other teams out there. And I love Morant, and I love Jackson, and I love Bane. But that doesn't mean squat in this league unless you as I said, you have buy-in and you sacrifice, and you basically got to look yourself in the mirror and figure out what went wrong, and you fix it, because it will be over quickly here. And then you've got to figure out what to do with Dylan Brooks, as I said. I'm not paying him 4 years, $85-90 million. He can go somewhere else. He can go see if he can get a deal from Detroit or Houston or one of these teams. 4 for $60, that's fine. Maybe a little bit more. Non-tax is 12.2. 15-16, 2-year deal. That's fine. But that's something they're going to have to figure out. But as I said, on the back end, if he's not here, who's your replacement? That is it. Have a wonderful, I guess for Saturday. Have a wonderful Saturday. We will talk soon.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.